how my games usually run with you all, but like you two have played games with me before, so I don't know that we need to do that. So let's just talk about our characters. You guys want to introduce your characters and talk about a little bit of their backstory or what you think their backstory might be?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Um, do you have a backstory, JD?
Yeah, Munson Argle is just is a mild mannered, quiet, somewhat nerdy guy whose wife just left him, and his dry goods store was just looted and burned down by brigands, and one of who the eldest one clutched his chest and fell dead during the entire ordeal. The only thing Argle has left is the armor and weapons from this guy that he sort of inherited that the local constable gave to him as recompense.
So,
Nice.
And so at some point, I'm thinking that there's some pretense of him using it. Right now, initially, I envisioned him as just wanting to sell it, but not being able to. It's nothing remarkable. So,
all right.
Okay. All right.
That fits pretty well with if we you guys if you pop into the Foundry server, I do have like a map up there if you want to look at it. And I think I set you up. If you have trouble getting in, let me know. But basically, like,
Is it the normal adventure
yep,
or whatever it is?
it should be adventure, I think. Yeah. If it's not, tell me and I will look it up to see what it is. But I think I was smart enough to leave it as adventure. Let's see.
Doesn't seem to be working.
Josh E. Adventure, capital A.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Okay, there we go. We're in.
All right. You might not have access to a token yet or whatever, but that's okay.
Let's go.
All right, so JD's here. Josh, you see it too? Oh, yeah, you're both there. Okay, so the area we're talking about is this Stark land here, which is over here on the left-hand side of the map. Munson, and I should change your name for this stream. Hang on. I imagine that you're talking about like a dry goods store where like it sounds like you were in sort of a wild sort of region, right? Which to me would probably put you somewhere in the far country. That's sort of like the Wild West of this world.
yeah, somewhere remote, fishing a dry goods store that specializes in fishing equipment and
Oh,
fishing
okay.
goods.
Okay, so you're trying to put yourself like right in. You'd probably put yourself right in the town then. Well, so how good of a businessman was Munson?
Good enough. I mean, made a living, but not like super successful.
Would he be the type of guy that would like move to the Midwest and open a fishing store?
Yes, around a lake, somewhere kind of somewhat quietish.
Okay.
Like I mean, it would be like the
All right, yeah, I can buy that. There's a town called the Crease in Far Country that he would fit right into. So,
okay.
let's say that he's from the Far Country and that all sort of happened there. How do you pronounce your name, Josh? You always throw cool names at me that I don't know how to say them. And you may be muted, Josh.
I am indeed. It's Tluthtar.
Okay,
Pretty sure.
it's just like you say it. It's not like a silent T or a silent L.
No, no, I didn't. I didn't go crazy with that.
All right. Tuluthtar. Okay, so what's up with Tuluthtar? We might have to come up with a nickname for you.
All right. Thule, Tool. Um, uh, so Tuluthtar was born in Menzoberranzan, which is like a classical city. I just picked a very old place. To House Cicero, which is historical. This is Forgotten Realms, so I may have to change some of this, but
No, so there's an entire continent. So the way I should the way the world is, right? It's mostly human. Like most of these empires are human, and they're
yeah.
sparsely like some elves and some of all the
Hmm.
other races sort of mixed in. But there are certain countries like I think it's Cruderia is like a
Hmm.
halfling country, and the
Oh, I see
Deridian
what you're saying.
Alliance up here on the right is actually like all the other races got tired of being kicked around by all the humans and went off and
Mm.
founded their own country.
Mm.
So that could we could just like take that city from the Forgotten Realms and like plug it in here,
Yeah.
and it would be fine. So
Well, so like I said, the good thing is that it's like the most iconic city in the Underdark. So it could be anywhere.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep.
It's a cave, or a big cave place city.
There are plenty of
So
caves.
um, so um, so he's the House Cicero was like one of the founding houses of Mensa Branson. They were taken over because they didn't have an heir, according to lore. And so Luthar doesn't. I suppose he does know this, but he knows this, but no one else really knows this, I guess. But he is the lost heir. But
Hmm.
he got trapped during some sort of earthquake while he was out on patrol and got lost in the Underdark. And when he came back, he found that his whole family had been killed. His whole house had been murdered.
Oh,
And
geez.
so instead of running in swords blazing, he just went, "Yeah, I'll see you guys later," and and left. Um, Not that he's a coward, but uh, there was no way for him to do anything.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So basically, upon his demise, he retreated back into the Underdark, where he wandered the depths for many years. And then the way I figured he would just enter this world is one day he finds himself on the surface. So just kind of finds himself at an opening that he's never seen before, and that could be anywhere.
What would
Or
so?
falls out of something and lands somewhere. You know. But the idea is that he's never been out of the Underdark. So he has no clue what's going on up on the surface.
Okay. So that would sort of fit in if which I don't.
It's
I'm not.
interesting because I don't think either one of these characters would really have much experience outside of their little world. So
Yeah. I don't think he's ever really fished. That's probably not a thing in the Underdark. I mean,
yeah,
they might have fish, um, but
So
he was trained as a swordsman and a spearman by his house. So
yeah.
the
So
Empire.
like he was sort of like he's noble upbringing. So he's got all like the. Well, I mean, it's a little different in the Underdark, I'm sure, but you know, he's had all the benefits of like a classic education,
Yeah.
sword fighting, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yes, because they were part of the controlling house at the time when he was trained, he would have had the best training there was.
Right.
Um,
Would you say did he embrace his training? Did he feel
oh,
did
he's
he
a drow for sure. He's a
Okay.
drow. It, he doesn't know anything else really, so he could evolve over time. But that's what he knows. You know,
Right. Oh,
like I
I
said, he's
think I was trying to get like was he like did he feel privileged or did he
I don't know
feel
if that's
proud and loyal, like I'm going to embrace this house and embrace and own that I'm part of this ruling
oh,
party? Or was he just kind of like,
yeah.
I'm going to coast and like drink a bunch of wine and like hang out with chicks?
He was definitely proud. Um, um, Definitely a proud, whatever.
So like, yeah, so like really loyal
Houseman,
to his
whatever you want to call.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Munson, where were you close? Were you born in the same place you started your business, or did you like
Yeah,
immigrate there? Yeah.
pretty much. I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Did you
imagine it
have?
being like, very kind of Mayberry-ish.
Okay. Did you have a Did you have a large family growing up? Like, did you have brothers and sisters, or?
Um, I never really thought of that. Yes, I would say he'd be like the youngest of three brothers, all of whom are like fishermen or sailors. He could never follow. It's sort of the family business, which he could not follow into because he gets seasick really easily.
I
That's
like that.
that's awesome. That's perfect. I love that. I love that because there's definitely going to be some sort of boating involved in this at some point. um, all right. So, how about you said how many brothers and sisters did Duluthtar have? Did you already say that and I missed it, or
No, no, I didn't.
no?
But
It doesn't really matter. Was he
I don't
really
know.
the eldest heir, or was he like the middle brother, and there were like, or were there like five
He,
people ahead of
he's
him, or?
yeah. He wasn't ever supposed to be the heir. He just is the only one left alive, so he is de facto heir. Not
Okay,
that he could ever claim it, but
okay. So did he
'cause
like? So in that, as a fact, we already know like he's really into it. He's proud to be part of his family. Yada yada yada. Sorry, that's probably not something I should yada. But was he like? So he had then probably, I would guess, embraced his role as like, I'm not going to be the ruler of this clan or whatever it is. I'm going to be like, I'm just going to make myself the best warrior or whatever it is that he could be. Um, so does he feel
yeah.
like
So,
that's kind of thrust on him now? And is that one of the reasons you think that he moved on? Like he, other than that, it was just this
well,
like
so
insurmountable thing that like he couldn't take over. But like maybe, how does he feel about shouldering the responsibility of being like the true leader of this city?
so I don't know that it would even be that he feels like he's a leader at all, because it's more in the Drow, the women rule. Their um, their deity is a queen spider. I don't know how much you know about this, but
I don't. I know
um,
nothing about the drow.
okay. Uh, um, so the Lilith, I believe it is, or Loth is the major queen spider who is their deity. She has priestesses, and the priestesses are who are the rulers of uh, the Drow, and they're brutal. They basically beat you until you die, or if you survive, you become what they want. Like it's the Drow is a very very um,
Very kind of Klingon, isn't it?
it's very bad. Like the reason why the Drow are viewed as such evil characters is really because they're just treated so crappily by everyone in their own group, and they live at war constantly, and so they cannot show
Yeah.
weakness. They cannot show like any type of like feelings, basically, what's considered weakness, and another house will immediately attack. Like it's a very houses built out of leaves or something like that. Like anything could crumble at any moment.
So we could think
Or
of
and
we could think of you as a Klingon combination of a Klingon and a Vulcan.
I guess.
Yeah, like you're it's a very
Yeah.
warlike society where
Machiavellian society.
yeah,
That's just
Yeah.
like the strong survive, but
Yeah.
like part of that is not showing, not expressing emotion. Would that be right?
Right. And yeah, yeah, he would never like I said, because the females rule, he would never be able to rule. He just happens to be the heir, so to speak, the
Oh, okay.
last one in that line alive.
Now,
And it's not that he is not proud of his house. He is proud of his house, and his house would actually carry name, but he can't tell anybody that, or they'll just kill him.
how
Because
does
he's
how
they
does
exterminate those people. So,
how would he approach female characters of other races?
well, probably very cautiously
Like,
because he's never seen any.
yeah, well, no, I mean,
He
I'm
made,
like assuming like everything is like gonna be it. I'm imagining Toulouse-Tara is going to be a pretty quiet character, which might be hard with a two-person game, but but I get so like the way that like I've in the past seen drows or had people play a drow as they're almost like thumb their nose at every other race essentially. Now I don't.
oh, they hate elves.
Okay,
Surface elves are their arch enemy.
Uh, I knew that. I knew that.
And
It's like the
like
Duergar with the dwarves.
yeah, this Sylvanesti, is it the Sylvanesti? Basically, high elves are their like worst enemy, but the forest elves they don't like either. But they're less. If you had a ranking, they would be slightly less hated than the high elves.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So this is what I was. We talked about this a little bit,
Yeah.
and I mean my guess is now that Ian's not showing up. However, if Ian ever does show up, his character is Cooper, and Cooper is a wood elf. And my whole idea there is that you've somehow found out that your mother, who would have been one of the rulers, right?
She was, a priestess.
Right.
So.
Was basically like stepping out with a wood elf and nobody knew about it. So you have like this half brother that like you didn't know about.
Okay.
And part of the way I think I see this whole thing sort of coming together, I think Munson stumbles into a black market trying to sell his armor. Toulouse-Tar ends up at the same black market and looking for his half brother, who is also part of a thieves ring. And you both end up getting Toulouse-Tar probably not duped because you just sort of want to figure out what's up with this elf that's like you're related to, because you have no family anymore. Family is like your thing.
Yeah.
Even though it's a wood elf, you hate him. It's like one of those things that like you just need to find out, right? So you're there for that,
Yeah.
and you know that this guy's there, and you find out that he is going to be part of this, basically like this expedition to this town, Salt Marsh, to retrieve some belongings, like basically a treasure that was stolen from the head of his guild.
Yeah. I got a slight adjustment idea.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
So because what else is so hated? Let's say that Toulouse-Tar finds out that he has a brother that finds a book or a journal or something while he's in the Underdark wandering, he finds some indication. I don't know how we want to do that exactly. Maybe he meets up with someone else or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That indicates that he. Ooh, maybe it's like a family tree type thing, and he sees his name on there, but then he sees this name that he doesn't recognize.
Oh, so he doesn't
And
like know that it's a wood elf.
right, so he doesn't know that it's a wood elf, so he comes out, onto the surface because that's where he heard he went, and he's like, "Oh, I should be able to find him, no problem. Like, how big could it be?"
Yeah.
And somehow he makes his way into this town, but that way he has no clue who this guy is, but he has the drive to help him, not kill him,
Okay.
or find out who he is.
Yep.
And that'll give him some like, he's a wood elf. Like, what is this?
That makes a lot of sense. So I think that you guys have all like, in terms of map, right? Because I want to make this. So Munson, I feel like, is the wild card in this, right? Munson wouldn't be going out and looking to join up with a thieving crew to basically like strong arm somebody's treasure back into his possession. Like that's not like something that Munson would typically do, right? Right, JD?
No, it would not be.
All
You
right.
would, yeah, so it's a matter of finding some kind of pretense to get him to join the
Right.
campaign.
So I think that
Although bear in mind, he is kind of desperate. His business is gone. His wife left him with his partner. He has no money. So at some point, you'd have to be like, oh, I don't know. I guess so.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be hard to fit him in here. So the way I see it is, you guys are you're probably like right on the border here to Starkland. You're in a place called the Crease, which is like the wildest part of the far country, right? And Munson has like left his little idyllic town to go to this place because he knows that there are people who are fighters that will buy armor in the Crease. Tluthtar has come to the Crease just because he's been sort of looking for his brother, and the trail has kind of led to that area of the continent. Tluthtar, you've probably been, through parts of the north looking for him. You know, maybe England, and you've sort of made your way over. So you've like kind of come like this, right?
Okay. So would you say that then Toluthar knows at least what a city is and probably what could be expected in them at this point? He's familiar with the common world.
I think
At
he
least.
knows. I think he knows that there are cities, but the route that I'm sending you from, like you could have like left the caves, hit a port, headed to the north, and the north really only has like two cities in it. Think it's mostly like think of the north as like Scandinavia, like when the Vikings were around. So there like aren't really any cities. There's just like big port towns. And England, think of England as like, have you ever seen The Last Viking?
Sure, yeah.
It's like, it's before England was England sort of thing where there's like, yeah, I mean, this is like it's part of the Union, so it's not quite like that, but it's not like, there's also only like, I think Westland, I forget the name of the cities in some of these places, but like there's really only one major port there too. So you could feasibly have gone through all of this area and just seen like small villages and towns. And they're going to be so, I don't want to say drastically different, but like you come through the north where like things are almost like they were for you. The north is a very like always sort of in turmoil. They had like it had always been like warring tribes until this guy named Scarling like united all of the tribes of the north. And then when he died, it basically became chaos again for a long time until recently. This dude Bethad basically like conquered most of the north and got all of the chiefs of the major tribes to like follow him. And he did that basically through not as much
I
through.
guess. So he's familiar with civilization. He's not just going to be like, "Whoa, this is like
No,
something." He's seen other races at this point. There's
right,
nothing
but
like
I would
super
think
new to
he had
him.
seen mostly. He's seen mostly human races,
Okay.
right? I don't think he's seen like
Halflings are
there aren't many halflings like in this. There's some halflings like he might run into some halflings like in the crease, but like in the Union as a whole, there aren't a ton of halflings.
yeah.
There are some elves, but yeah, yeah. So he's I would say he's probably adjusting to the idea of the other races,
He
but
spent a couple years traveling over or something, so he's a little
yeah, but
familiarized. But he's not. He doesn't necessarily experience everything, but he's familiarized with top world culture at
yeah, he's
least.
not totally
Some of it.
backwards, but he's not like friends with these people.
Yeah, no, he would probably avoid them most of the time.
So Munson, do you think would you describe yourself as like a super friendly person? Like
Um, Probably not super friendly, but he operates a business. He has to have a baseline of friendliness to deal with customers and that sort of thing. But I wouldn't describe him as being like overly outgoing.
how big of a businessman is he? Is he?
How
Like
big of enough to?
I'm talking about like is
Is
like
he
being
like
a
Ducky?
businessman like his persona? Like is he gonna like try to shake everybody's hand and give them a business card?
He's a used
No, no,
car salesman.
Okay.
no. He doesn't have any sort of like sleazy hustler vibe to him. Just a
No,
small town.
yeah, no. I wasn't even giving like a. I wasn't even thinking like a hustler angle. I was just thinking like, is his was his business like what defined him as a person?
Yeah, pretty much. I would
Okay,
say so.
all right. So he. What I'm
He's
guessing
smart
is
enough. He's smart enough to really operate. He's not really tough or rugged enough to become a fisherman or a sailor or anything like that. So
okay. So he's like, I imagine like anybody he runs into on the road, he's gonna start chatting, trying to like change the subject to like fishing supplies and dry goods a lot of the time.
yes, you could very much so.
Like like he'll come across some weird problem like where like somebody's like trying to rob him or like somebody's telling them about a robbery and he'll like talk about like, oh well, I had a guy come in for a fishing pole once. And anyway, yeah, I really you guys did. I mean, I know that like there's not like a full huge backstory here, although it sounds like Tlustar has a huge backstory that I'm kind of blowing up on. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. We're moving it. I might say that he wears a mask because Drow are probably very, very poorly looked at. So at least covers his face somehow.
So
Not sure. Not sure
yeah,
how yet.
I don't know that I wouldn't say that Drow are poorly looked at.
Okay.
They're I don't know that there are so few elves in the circle of
They,
the world outside of the Doridian Alliance, and so few of other races that it's more like they lump you in with all the other elves. Do you know what I mean?
okay. They don't know that. Yeah, they don't even see. They just see all
They see
elves as
pointy ears
elves.
and they're like, "Oh, look, it's
Yeah,
an elf. That one has
right.
gray skin. I hope he's okay."
They don't see races of elves.
Right.
Yeah. Are
Um,
you sick? Yeah. Oh, great. They'll get that all the time. Are you sick? Oh, no.
and they don't have a ton of experience with the other races. So Munson, that's something for
Okay.
you to think about. In the far country, you probably have a little more than somebody from like the center of the Union, which is like basically Midderland. Like,
Mhm.
so you have a little more exposure to elves and orcs and halflings. I would guess probably mostly halflings and dwarfs you've dealt with for the most part.
Yeah, halfling dwarves, maybe
I
the
have to point
occasional
out that
woodland.
you
Yeah.
reskinned this bad Larry control panel over here.
What's that? Oh yeah, you like that?
Your control panel is all reskinned. I'm like, wait a second,
Yeah, it's looking good.
fancy buttons and everything.
All right. Cool. I really like the angles you guys are coming from with your characters. I haven't heard from Ian yet. Um, but I kind of feel like it's going to be a throwaway if you have these like great backstories that you figured out and we don't do something with them.
Yeah.
Um,
If not now, some other time. Maybe too, it's just like bad scheduling. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm of one of these. I'm of the impression that if I have to pester someone too much to do something, they're
Yeah,
probably not really interested. Which
yeah.
I did a lot of pestering with this group, and a couple people a couple times came back and said, "No, no, I'm really interested." And then like it came to the time to start playing, like really down to the nitty
Yeah.
gritty, and I haven't heard from them.
They were UK people.
No, one is actually I used to do a lot of acting in. Well, I call it acting. It's not really acting. Um, I used to pretend I could act a lot. In
Oh,
I guess it was college. And
hmm,
when I was at Worcester State, there was this guy who directed like these dinner theater things, these murder
yeah.
mystery dinner theaters, and I was in a couple of them for him. And then out at
Was his name Seth?
no, no, although I know a Seth from somewhere, but
Of course you do. He's from a coffee shop, and Seth was like the weird dinner theater guy.
oh no, no, I don't know that guy. Um,
Yes, you do.
no,
Yes,
I
you.
don't. No, I don't. Um, And then I was in a show for him out in Barry at Barry Players, which I was terrible in.
Oh, nice.
But he has moved on and become a junior high school theater teacher.
Oh, nice.
And I thought of him. I'm like, oh, who were a lot of the people that played Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, and like Vampire Masquerade and all that stuff. It was all like the
Hmm.
theater people that I knew that like did this sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I immediately thought, oh, he'd probably be really interested. And he was initially, but since then he's kind of dropped off, which he's a teacher. It's a kind of hard
Hmm.
time to be a teacher. So,
Come on.
you know, um, and then the other person we invited, a good friend of JD's, and the time zone stuff didn't really work out for him. Um, and then we invited our friend Jim. Uh,
Time zone. Why? Where the hell is he?
he's in Arizona. Is he still in Arizona, JD?
Yeah, Casey's in Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
that's the back. That's the other way. It
yeah.
should be easier. It's 7.
Um, well, yeah, but if you think about it, it's like 5:30 now there, so it's like I don't know.
Is it that early?
Plus
Jeez,
he
I don't know.
works. He tends to
Whatever.
work in like. Is he still working in like restaurants and bars and stuff?
Yeah, they're not open.
He's been animal control officer for like a decade now.
Oh, okay, all right, all right. But
Even
it's
that
still weird hours.
schedule was kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I see.
John's brother, Coma's brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I know that he would really like this. I think it would make him really uncomfortable, but I know he would really like to play. Like once he got into it. So I had asked him, but he had other plans this evening. It doesn't sound like he's gonna bite.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, his brother would totally bite and would love to do this, but doesn't have a computer.
Yeah, well, obviously. I mean,
So
probably does. I mean, he probably does have a computer somewhere, but it's from 1995 and
no, he has a
hasn't been
work
turned on
computer,
since.
but he doesn't want to use his work computer for this, which is fine. That's like a total thing for him. I'm okay with
He's
it.
like the only techie who doesn't have the only tech guy that doesn't have a computer.
Yeah, well, it's because he's working on tech from like 20 years ago.
Well, that's because he keeps being the one who writes it. So,
So that was supposed to be our group. Oh, and a friend of mine that actually directed JD in a movie.
oh,
But
JD
he,
was
Oh,
in the
there's
movie.
Memo?
yeah, Memo was.
Oh, that's right.
I asked Memo to play, and he said right off the bat, I'd love to get together with you guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it all the time. And he did respond to my email, and he said, "Oh, Fridays really aren't good for me. It's family movie night. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it." And I was like, "Dude, don't worry about it. Like, I knew you were sort of a long shot to begin with, you know." So that was supposed to be our group. It is obviously the two of you that are the group currently. But like you said, we could just shelve these guys and try to do it another time. I so I have some other places that I could ask people, but they're like, I wouldn't know them. So,
What do you mean?
So
Oh, I see what you're saying.
like the
Like you could do
Foundry
like a finding,
server. The Foundry
yeah,
server has like a
find
Discord
a game or whatever it
channel,
is.
yeah, and like there are a lot of
Mhm.
people there that are like very active, and we're always talking about like the campaigns we're building and stuff. And I'm sure I could get somebody to play, but it's going to be like a stranger, which I don't know 100% how I feel about that. Maybe if it was a group of all strangers, I'd be okay with it, but like I don't know, it
So,
especially with JD, who every once in a while will come out with something very off color. Like,
I mean, have you met nerds? Most of them are pretty okay with the off. Have you been on Reddit?
yeah,
Just read a few comments and you'll see how off color they can be.
I
Uh,
don't, yeah, I don't, sometimes I feel that way. And then like, I think, oh, there are also a lot of people in here that are younger than us that, um, in their email, they're writing their pronouns. John
Oh,
Swedberg,
yeah.
he,
Ixnay on the
him,
pronoun.
yeah, like, and I know that like they would take offense to something. So
Absolutely, that's a
yeah.
dead giveaway pronouns.
yeah, I just and I want to make it, and that's part of like what I like is to make
Just call
things.
it that. Weed them out and just call it like the no boutique pronouns campaign. Like,
Well, I want to make it like feel you want to make it like feel safe for everybody, right? And fun for
no,
everybody,
We
right?
could try.
Right.
yeah.
Well, and for our group, safe is not really a thing, Although
Sometimes I feel like we freak Solvay out sometimes.
we and Josh, we definitely Josh is actually a lot more politically correct than 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 he comes off sometimes. I think he gets a lot
We,
more offended sometimes by some of the things we
we
say.
you can tell a little bit because he gets a little flustered and he'll be like, "Sir,
Well, maybe that's not what happens.
yeah, yeah." Is he a teacher or something? Like, is he in?
No, you know what, Josh? You could visit Josh, probably on any weekday.
Yeah, he
Is he a
works at
bartender?
No, he works at
Coney
Coney
Island,
Island.
right? Coney Island.
Coney
Yeah,
Island.
he works at
Yeah.
Coney Island.
Oh,
So,
so he works with Eric Yankees, Mr. Yankees Franco. That's who he works with.
oh,
Is he still there?
Well, last time I knew, yeah. I mean, the other Josh would be the person to ask, not me. But
I mean, Josh has been doing that for a really long time, so I think they keep their staff. I think they treat them well.
I think
That,
I kind of recognized his face. To be honest, I know I've seen him there. You know,
all right, so I mean, we can either start diving in a little bit, or we can hit pause and say, let's look for some extra people. It's up to you guys.
Geez, I'm trying to think who else.
all my friends are far away. The only other person that I wished I could get Dorian to do it, but he won't. He won't do it online. He'll only do it in person. I'm like, you're so weird. Just try
Maybe
it.
I'll try to murder him and see if I can get him to.
Yeah. I told him that we were doing it, and he was like, oh. And he, like, kind of seemed, like, saddened that we were all doing it, and he wasn't invited. And I was like, you could just message him and get in on it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be welcome. Like, you could always come play. Like, it's fine. And he was like, I don't really do the online thing. But, yeah, if you pressured him, I bet you Serrano would probably do it.
Who?
Serrano,
his sister would probably,
Yeah,
and in effect, her fiance Doug would also probably do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys, I've spent a ton of time developing this world, not specifically just for this game, like I was doing it otherwise.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, eventually, I was going to lead you into this world at some point from the other campaign somewhere down the line too.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be now. Like, I'll use it somehow. But if you guys know anybody that you'd like to play with that you think would be fun, what about your nephew, JD? Do you think he would nerd it up?
Probably not. He's usually pretty busy.
Okay.
What about your mom, JD? You think she'd do it?
Oh yeah. Go get Marilyn.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of lost track of everybody. I mean, I think there'd be people interested, like
I tried to ask Mike
Andy
Mars.
DuPont would probably be. I think Andy DuPont might be
I'm
interested
surprised
in that
Mike
stuff.
Mars. Surprised Mike Mars didn't jump on that.
I'm gonna ask him again.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised now.
I asked him a while back, and he was just like, "I'm really busy with like, I don't know. He's always got something like he's busy with."
Being Mike Mars, I guess.
It's
project on.
It's the like that publishing thing that he's doing.
Let's see.
I also have a lot of people that like. I was trying to get basically a group to also, and that it doesn't. You don't have to go by this, but I was also trying to just get a group of new people to introduce it to.
Yeah.
I tried to get TC to come again.
Yeah.
I don't know why he won't. I think he feels like there's some sort of stigma about it that he doesn't want. Like,
What does he care? He doesn't have to tell anybody. Who's he going to talk to? His kids?
I don't know. And he's come on and watched the stream a couple times.
Yeah.
But he said,
Yep.
Here, I'll tell you what the exchange was. I said, all right, me, Eagle, JD, and Ian are starting a new D&D campaign tomorrow night. I know you weren't really interested before, but just giving it another shot just in case. And his response back was, LOL, appreciate the offer, sir. So I'm pretty sure that was a defined no.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna. I won't pester him anymore about it.
Yeah.
I really wish I could get my neighbor to play, but he is expecting a new baby, so he won't be doing anything for like the next 2 years, probably.
I mean, John Wolf might, but I don't know what I haven't talked to him in a long time.
I don't think I even know how to get a hold of him.
It's not even on Facebook anymore. Is he really?
He's only on Google Plus, I believe.